All right, so body mechanics. In your rough and tumble stance, start with your feet or shoulders width and take a relaxed step forward. Doesn't matter, left foot, right foot. In fact, you should change stance frequently because it's been proven that the more you practice in your off stance, then actually the faster you get improvement in your other stance. So same thing goes with practicing with your left hand. If you practice with using your knife or your stick with your left hand, you'll actually improve with your right hand faster than if you trained with your right hand exclusively. So get into your stance, and then when you throw your lead hand, let's say you're going to throw a jab, you need to turn your hip so that you get some hip action into the strike. And then when you punch with your right, you need to lift that toe up and then get some flexion into your body and then get back to your stance. So turn, turn. Now you will notice that, can you come here for 1 second? Stand behind me if you would. And I'd like for you to put your finger just above my head and don't move it, because you're going to keep your finger in space so that you can show it'll illustrate my head movement. So when I'm in here and I throw my jab, my head moves to the right. And then when I throw my rear punch, my head moves to the left. And so how far does my head move left to right? Yes. And so if he's standing in front of me, and stand right here if you would. Now if he's going to try to hit me in the head, then when I throw my jab, then my head's moving. So if he punches at the same time, then my head moves. And then when I punch to the other side, my head also moves. Move while you hit while you move. You do not stand still like a zombie like Frankenstein. You want to move while you hit and hit while you move. So when you stand here, boom, boom. Boom, boom, and back, okay? Now, all of these strikes are going to move essentially in the same way. So, if you take your hands out of the equation, when your left hand goes, you turn. And when your right hand goes, you turn. It's that simple. Don't overcomplicate it. So, if you throw, let's say, a palm heel strike to the head with your front leg, with your lead hand, when we say lead hand, we're talking about the hand that's on the side of the foot that is forward, okay? So when you do that, you're going to turn your hips this way, and then when you do with the back one, you're going to turn your hips this way. Because you don't want to hit him with just your arms, you want to hit him with your whole body. Your whole body, as you put your whole weight behind the strike, yes? When you throw an uppercut, if you throw an uppercut with your lead hand, then you're going to turn your hips this way. And when you throw an uppercut with your rear hand, you're going to turn your hips this way. Very simple. Now, if you want to strike to the body, you don't just strike down like this and then leave your hands exposed. So if I want to, let's say, punch to the mark as opposed to the throat, let's say, then I would lower the whole assembly, bang, bang, and then I would return. So I'm lowering the entire assembly. So now watch, my head is not just moving down, but when I throw my lead, it's going to move here. And then when I throw my right, it's going to move here. And then I'm going to return to normal. So I'm scribing, my head will scribe a triangle. So I will go to here, boom, boom, and then I'll come back again. That's simple. So always turn, and you can practice this with your hands out of the equation or in the equation. But make sure you're in your rough and tumble stance. Keep not your elbows flared. And then boom, boom, boom. In heritage self-defense, we use basic, old school strikes. We don't want to punch people in the face in hard stuff with soft parts of our body. So if I go and I strike him in the face with my hand, then I'm going to have an injured hand. So if I'm striking with my fist, there are really two primary targets. I want to aim for the Adam's apple, or I want to aim for the solar plexus. Now right below his breastbone, we call that the mark. You feel that? We call that the mark. And so if you punch to that, boom, then you'll get an immediate reaction. We can also punch to the body, right underneath the floating ribs on both sides. As it happens, the rib cage is there to protect the vital organs. So if you hit the rib cage, you're not going to do as much damage as if you hit something soft. Rule 1, hit the soft stuff with the hard stuff. So you want to aim for this if you're going to use your fist. Now if you want to hit in the face, that's great, but you want to hit him in the face with your palm, and when you do a palm, it's freezing out here by the way, maybe I'll take this glove off. If I want to hit him in the face with my palm, I don't want to hit him palm up. I want to turn my palm to the side. Why do I want to turn my palm to the side? Because if he's going to hit me in the face and my hand is like this, then he's going to hit me in the face every time. And so if he's a smart guy and we're fighting and I go to hit him in the face, he's just going to punch me over the top as soon as I move my hand from cover. See, if he goes to hit me in the face right now, it's harder for him to get me. I've got some cover, right? But if I go like this, boom. But watch what happens. If I go like this, then I am hitting him, and at the same time, I am stopping this arm. Does that make sense? So, when I go to do my strike, I'm going to hit this way. Now, if I go to the heavy bag, then I will hit the heavy bag, bam. And when I do that, I want to do a little bit of a stomp. And I want to stomp with my lead leg because I want my weight to be forward. And I want to hit that. Now, how do I know if I'm hitting the bag hard? If I hit the bag hard, it will jangle. If I hit it, if I shove the bag, it will swing, right? So a certain amount of swing is natural, but what I'm really looking for when I hit the bag is I'm looking for a jangle maneuver. Now, do you have to turn totally over? Nah, you don't have to turn totally over. But certainly, at least this far is what you want in order to make sure that you're getting contact. Also, you don't want to hit with the center of your palm. You want to strike with either section of the L. You can either use this section of the L, the beefy part, or the palm heel right here. You don't want to strike with the center of your palm because that's the softest part. So again, you want to hit the soft stuff with the hard stuff, right? Now, the advantage of turning means I can also strike the Adam's apple. So if I go this way, I can't hit the Adam's apple, but in theory, I can still palm to that Adam's apple, bang, and I can still hit it. But this way, I can only aim for the face. All right, good. Now, other attacks we want to use. Hammer, bang, bang. It's a pulling motion because you don't want to leave your arm hanging out at length. So when you come in, bang, bang, you want to pull it back and get back to cover. Now you will notice, as we've talked about in other videos, we stand in ready position this way. Watch what happens. If I stand in ready position with my arms this way, immediately my elbows flare. I do not want my elbows to flare because if I let my elbows flare, then there's going to be a problem. I'm going to give him an opening to reach underneath. So he will reach underneath, he will punch me underneath, or he will grapple me underneath and take me around the body. I do not want that to occur. What I want is I want to have this. That way my forearms are between us. I have a better shield for wrestling and for grappling as well as for striking. So I want to get here and I want to pull those strikes in, bang, bang. And here's what's fun. When you get into the knife stuff, the same thing holds true. When you have a knife in your hand, you don't want to leave your knife hand out. You want to make your strike and get back to cover. And the way you control the momentum of a weapon, whether it's a knife or a stick or a crowbar or what have you, is to pull it in at the end of the stroke to keep from going here, right? So in order to keep your strikes tight and in line, then you do that by pulling them in. So with your hammer strikes, here, back to cover, back to here. All right, same thing holds true on your punches. So when you make a punch, do you want to punch vertical fist like the way they do in Wing Chun? Look, there's a reason why you don't see people doing Wing Chun punch in UFC, because your arm is bent. And when your arm is bent, the same as it was before, he would have hit me over it. I want to turn my fist over and I want to punch this way. And I want to get back to my cover, punch here, and get back to cover. fists in, and then roll your punches over when you strike. Bang, bang, and then back to cover. Now, we did hammer fists, but you can certainly do that with the hand open and make it a chop. If that's what you're interested in, the smaller the surface area, fine. You can strike with a hammer this way with the palm, outside edge of the blade of the hand, or you can leave your hand open. Now you will find that if your hands are open, you have the possibility of hitting the fingers. If you fall short and then there's something's there like a shoulder or an arm, you can rake your fingertips. But if you have a fist, you'll find that you actually hurt your fingers a little bit just by hitting. Your mileage may vary. You will have to figure out how you want to do it. But you will notice, come on in here for a moment. So you will notice that when I attack with a chop, it's sometimes easier to get into a confined space. If I want to chop, I can chop to the neck or what have you. But you try and see what you like. I rather like the hammer, but sometimes I'll notice that I just fall into doing chops sometimes. But that's your call. The other thing we want to keep in mind is that we can also use forearms, and we can use poppers, which is the inside of the forearm, or we can use the outside of the forearm. Now if I use a popper, that's when I'm in this position and turn a little bit like this, so hands up. So if we're in here fighting, bang, 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 then I can sometimes use the outside of my arm, especially if I'm in here wrestling. I can pull his arm down just like this, and then I can just go bang, and I just hit him with that forearm bone against the side of his neck, and it works great. So we're in here, and maybe we're kind of fighting, we're wrestling around. I can just pull the hand down, bang, and then hit him with it. Oh, I'm sorry, did I hit you too hard? Okay. And so, boom, and then the same thing holds here, boom, bang. And this arm right here, and you don't have to move your whole body. You will notice this. So show them how this works. So all he has to do is he just has to punch an imaginary person behind me without even thinking about it. And when he does, his forearm's just going to naturally clock me in the jaw. Go ahead. Yeah, it's very disruptive and it's very unexpected, okay? So that's what's commonly referred to as a popper, okay? And they work really well. So you have a lot of different options in here, but you certainly can bang, bang, pop, and then you can use your forearm here as well. And we call this a cram or a braced cram. So if I'm large and scary and he doesn't want me this close and I'm trying to grab him, then he can make a circle and then he can push me back. And he would typically place this somewhere unpleasant, like maybe here. Oh, that doesn't feel good. Or maybe on my face, all right? And then that's a deterrent, right? But if he really wants to make an impression, then he might get a little space. And as soon as he gets some space, he can certainly go pop, 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 and he could bang me with the forearm repeatedly. And that looks like this. So on the heavy bag, go ahead. So get to at an angle so the camera can love you. And then go like this, and then just bang it with your forearm. Just bang. Yeah. Now look how much jump he got. He got as much jump off of that bang as you would if you hit it with your fist. Go ahead. Yeah, with your bang, bang. Bang, bang. Yes, it's very aggressive. And so it seems like it wouldn't be much power in that, but there really is quite a bit of power, and it's as much power as you get off a strike because there's so much more mass. So if you come in here, bang, bang, with that forearm, then you can get a significant amount of force, create some space, boom, boom, and then maybe create an opportunity to run. Remember, running is still the highest percentage of self-defense technique there will ever be, or ever will be, has been or ever will be. All right, the last strike is not really a strike truly, but we consider a strike. Come in just for a moment. So we often forget the shoulder. And so we don't forget it when we're doing sports because it happens all the time. In hockey, in every sport known to mankind, even the ones that aren't contact sports, everybody knows you can throw an elbow. Everybody knows that you can throw a shoulder. And so if people always forget, they think that a self-defense situation is a boxing match, and it certainly isn't. And there's nothing wrong with you crashing into the person and just driving your shoulder into their body and causing discomfort. Especially if his head is low and he's getting ready to charge, I can just throw my shoulder into his face and just use my whole body to make that attack, and then I can proceed to do another grab or another takedown or another strike, whatever it is that excites me. But never forget that you can just crash into the guy, and the all is available to you, right? All these strikes are available to you. And then also remember that you can use your elbows and not just from any angle. And so let's look at elbow angles. And what I want you to remember when you throw your elbows is that, look, if you throw your elbow parallel to the ground, then if his hands are up, I'm automatically going to get resistance. It's almost no point in throwing this unless he's a zombie. Now, if he's a zombie, then it's just great. Then I can throw these all day. But he's not a zombie. He's alive. He's going to move around, and this is a problem. Am I ever going to hit this man with this elbow? No. I'm going to have to use elbows from a different angle. So if I'm going to shoot him with elbows, I'm going to throw that one. That's the one I want to throw straight up. And if you watch my hips turn, and maybe you can't see it from there, but I'm going to turn my right hip toward him, and my body's going to shift so that I'm facing this way for a moment. Bang, bang, straight up the middle, boom, and then back to my cover. Or I can strike straight down. And the way I do that is I cover my face here, and then I strike straight down. So I come to here, I take my hand close to my face, I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to strike straight down like that. Again, if I'm in this position, and I want to show take my gloves off so you can see them relative to hand position. So I'm in here. I want to keep my hands up properly. In order to do this, I'm going to flick my hand this way. I'm going to lift my elbow this way, and then I'm going to throw it straight down. Now, when I finish that, I'm going to be standing like this so that I'm protected at all times. So I'm in here. If I want to throw it as a combo, I go bang, bang, bang. So practice that. Boom, 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 or boom, boom, bang, bang. You're going to have to throw and turn your hips so that you get those strikes up the center. It takes a fair amount of relaxation in the hips in order to get that complete. So practice those elbows in that fashion. Now let's talk about varieties and angles of attack. So if I'm going to strike, come on in. So if I'm going to strike, let's say with fists, then I have a number of strikes available to me. So I can punch straight. So we call them a jab. And then we'll call boom, or we call a cross, right? But you can throw those with palms. Just because you're throwing the palm, though, you know, a jab and a cross does not refer to the part of the hand you're hitting with. It refers to the angle and the body mechanics. So a jab is a flicking attack with your lead hand. And so maybe that's a palm. So it's a jab with the palm, and then a cross with the palm, right? Now you also have uppercut. Now an uppercut, you're going to turn again, you turn your body so that it faces a little bit this way, and you're going to thrust your hand up. Well, you can just as easily thrust upward with a palm. It's more difficult and more awkward, but you could in fact do that. Better to use your fists though, and then direct your uppercut rather than at the jaw where it will break your hand, but direct your uppercut to his midsection, to the mark, right? Boom, boom, to here. And your hook. And the hook is the same. So when you throw your hook, you can throw it with a fist to the neck, to where it's soft, or you can throw your palm heel to the side of the head, or you can lower the whole assembly and you can fire to the body. Boom, boom, boom. Or even hammer to the body in that fashion. Throwing punches with your arms is not what we're talking about. We need to throw punches and strikes with our whole body in unison. Move while you hit while you move.